Hello, everyone, and welcome again. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm here now. Okay, people, I'm here now. I am JT, aka the Master, and this is For No Reason. And for no reason, I had some technical difficulties. 15 minutes late. I apologize profusely on that. But we're gonna get this show started. And we're gonna get this party started. Okay? And try to do the best we can. And let me just get this here. Trying to get my co-host on here. And get this party started. We're going to be talking about tight ends, people. Tight ends. I'm going 25 deep. Somebody on the FSP show, Fantasy Sports and Politics show, said, "You going to go 25?" I said, "Yeah, okay." Because not everybody going to be able to get the top 5 quite naturally. If you have a 10 or 12 team league, you ain't going to be able to get the top 5. Okay? Somebody's going to be fortunate to get the top 5, top 4, top 3, whatever. But you got to dig deep. You got to get combinations. And just like I got last week with tight wide receivers, and the week before I had with quarterbacks, I'm going to show you strength of schedule for the tight end position and try to pair it if you don't get a wide receiver or you don't want to use a wide receiver that has a favorable schedule along with the quarterback, and you want to stack a quarterback with either a tight end or a wide receiver, like I showed you last week. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what kind of advantage you can have with a tight end that's got a favorable schedule, strength of schedule. Remember when I told you 1 is bad, 1 is very bad, 2 is bad, 3 is average, okay, 4 is better than average, and 5 is the best. And yes, there are some 5s here. There and name players that are at 5, people at 5, and it's going to be to your advantage. It's going to be to your advantage to take advantage of that. And hopefully you can take advantage of it. Okay? I'm trying to wait for my esteemed co-host. You know what? I'm not going to wait. I'm going to do this. First, I'm going to, I talked about what I'm going to be doing. And also, I added a little tidbit here. Okay? The week before, not the week before, when I did quarterbacks, which was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now, I gave you a little tidbit on your draft. Okay? The first week I told you, know your league settings, know your roster size, your limits, and your basic settings. Last week, I gave you another quick tidbit. Don't drink and draft. Don't drink and draft. Okay? It can lead to bad results. Poor results, I should say. This week, I'm going to say this. Have a strategy going into your draft. Know what you want to do and be able to be fluid in your draft. Don't put things set in stone. Don't set things in stone that this is the way I'm going to draft no matter what. Because I've said this before and I'll say it again. Every draft is different. Every draft is different. You can mock draft till you're blue in the face. Okay? You can mock draft till you're blue in the face. And every draft is different. You can draft from whatever draft position that you're going to be in a million times. And that 1,000,001 time is going to be different than the first one you did and the millionth one you did. Every draft is different. I know you may know your league mates. You may think you know them. They may have a different strategy going into this year's draft. They may decide to go a different route. What you're used to them drafting in the past, if you've been in the same league more than once or more than twice or whatever, you know your league mates, and you know how they normally draft. Every draft is different. That's all I got to say. Okay. And now, let's do this. I'm going to go and show you 14 to 25. Work back from 25 and also incorporate within that 25 any quarterbacks that I listed in the top 25. Okay. Any quarterbacks are listed in the top 25. The 25th quarterback was Derek Carr. And I'm going to work my way back from the tight ends and incorporate the quarterbacks. So, if, like I said, if you want to stack your not your wide receiver, I talked about that last week, your quarterbacks and your tight end to try to double up on those points, I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you how good or how bad it could be. Okay, if you want to do it or do it not, or not do it, not do it. Okay. And let's start at number 20, at number 25. Okay. And I'll go a Conquo. Okay. And see if we can, you know what, people, right off the top, and he's 25. Okay. And I'm telling you, people, there is some, I wouldn't say some gold, but there is some quality tight ends. And this is at 25, paired with their quarterback. And their quarterback is going to be, and we'll go up here and we'll do this, is Will Levis. Now, look at Will Levis, people. He may be at 25, but he's got a 5-star strength of schedule, which is very good. And then you got his tight end, which is at 25, and he's got a 4, which is very good. He's got a 4, which is very good. So if you don't get the top 4 or 5 tight ends, and they're named tight ends, everybody knows them, and we'll go through them. This is not a bad combination of quarterback, tight end. Okay, quarterback, tight end. You may not like the wide receiver. You may like the tight end, and this offense is going to be thrown. This is an offense that's going to be throwing the ball more. Okay. And this is a second-year quarterback and got high hopes. This guy's going to be the starting quarterback. I mean, I'm talking about Will Levis. And we'll see. We'll see. Okay. At number 24, people, at number 24 is Isaiah Likely. Okay. From the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens. Wow. Ravens. And let's look at his quarterback. Now, we know who his quarterback is. It's Lamar Jackson. And let's look at Lamar Jackson. He's in the top 4, and he's got a 4. You see that? Likely is more than likely. Okay, I'll say that. He's more than likely he's going to play because Mark Andrews does miss time. Okay? Does miss time. If you miss out on Mark Andrews, you can always move it down and draft Isaiah Likely late. Now, you may not use him, but unless Mark Andrews goes down, and then he's a strong play. All right? If you have Mark Andrews, I know you're not probably going to handcuff him most likely, but who knows? You may have that opportunity. You may want to do that because you know Mark Andrews is going to miss some time. And you want to be able to cover the Ravens tight end because Lamar Jackson likes throwing to the tight end. And that's in the offense, within the offense, one of the better passing options of the Baltimore Ravens. Okay? Let's move on to 23. And people saying, who's Johnson? Who the heck is Johnson? Well, I'll tell you who Johnson is. Juwan Johnson. Yeah, but you're going to say, what about Taysom Hill? Okay. And since I have him here right now, you'll see. I have Hill at 21. And both of them are a 4. Okay? 4. And guess what, people? Bam! Derek Carr is a 4. Hell of a combination. So, in my opinion, if you miss out on Hill, because a lot of people are going to jump on Hill because he's a combination of quarterback and tight end in a lot of leagues, you can always go to Juwan Johnson because both those players are incorporated into this offense. Both those players are. So, in my opinion, I'm going to wait on the tight end. And if I can get a quarterback that's got a favorable schedule, okay, strength of schedule, and I can pair him up with either a wide receiver or a tight end, depending on what kind of offense it is. Some of them accentuate the tight end or throw to the tight end more. I'm going to do it. But you see Derek Carr is a 4. He's got a good schedule. Not a very good, but a good schedule. And his tight ends, Juwan Johnson and Taysom Hill, also have a 4. That's very good right there. That's excellent. Okay. Now let's move on to number 22, since I covered two tight ends in one. Noah Fant. Come on, people. People say Noah Fant. What? Yeah. This offense is going to be throwing the ball more. And Noah Fant is basically the only tight end in town. The only tight end worthy on the Seattle Seahawks to throw to. And yes, they're going to be thrown to. And yes, Geno Smith, one of the more accurate, and I know people not really a big Geno Smith fan. That's all right. I am. He's one of the more accurate passers passing the ball down the field. Okay? And Geno Smith is 3. Noah Fant is 3. That's a good schedule. Not a really good, not a excellent or very good. That's a good schedule. And they're going to be throwing the ball more. And he's basically the only wide receiver on that team that's catching the football. Basically. Okay? I'm giving you quality stuff here. As you can see, scroll through and sees what tight ends that a lot of them have good schedules. A lot of them has good schedules. Let's move on to number 20 in Cade Otton out of Tampa Bay. Okay? Cade Otton's got a 3, people. All right? He's got a 3. And let's move on to Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield he's got a 2. He's got a 2. Okay? It is what it is. But he's got a favorable schedule. And he likes throwing to the tight end. And Cade Otton, why not? He's definitely a tight end too. Let me put it that way. Definitely a tight end too. And we have to wait and see. All right. On this one. This is a stone throw. Let me put it this way. This is a shot in the dark in K-Dot. You may have if this is he may not even get drafted, to tell you the truth. But I got him at number 20. Okay. This guy this guy in Tyler Conklin. I don't have his stars. I don't know why I don't, but he's got a number 3. All right. He's got a number 3. And I'll correct this. I'll correct this right now. And when I get to it, let me get there, and I'll correct this right now. Okay, you got a number 3. And Aaron Rodgers, who I have listed up here as the number 20 quarterback, has a 2. He falls in line with the K-Dot, that he may be drafted or drafted late. He's tight end 2. And he may be an option here. Okay. Aaron Rodgers likes throwing to the tight end. And I can say this. He's definitely a tight end too. And you would want to tread lightly in drafting. Said tight end. At number 19, at number 18, Hunter Henry. Now his quarterback is not listed. We don't know whose quarterback is going to be, but Jacoby Brissett or Drake May is not a top 25 in no way in this offense. They're going to be horrible. They're going to be horrible. Horrible people. And I would have to say that I can't. He's not. I have to. He's worthy of being a top 25 tight end, but he's a tight end 2, maybe even a tight end 3. But he's worthy of being in this list. That's why I have him here. At number 17, Luke Musgrave. Now this I can tell you right now that Luke Musgrave, rangy and athletic, has the tools to become one of the better pass-catching tight ends in the league. A second-round draft pick out of Oregon State, that was last year. Musgrave produced modest rookie year numbers. Most tight ends do that. 34 catches for 352 yards and 1 touchdown. He missed 6 games with a lacerated kidney. That's serious business there. And was averaging a respectable 7.3 points per reception in fantasy league before he got hurt. But he gets to play with quarterback Jordan Love, who likes to spread the ball around. However, is that the Packers spent a 3rd-round pick on another tight end last year, in Tucker Kraft, who also has some impressive flashes as a rookie. Now he like these guys, or most of these guys, are sleepers or tight end 2s, but he could come on fast. Okay, let me show you, because Love is within the top 13, and Love has a 5. Love has a 5, people, and we're looking at Musgrave, who has a 3. Not a bad combination. Not one of the best, but not a bad combination. In a pinch, I could draft Luke Musgrave, and take a shot on this, I wouldn't say pass happy, but with a quarterback that's on the upswing in passing. And also, in my opinion, he's much athletic. He's more athletic, I should say, much more athletic than Tucker Kraft. And I would think that this kid has got something to prove. And this may be breakout season. Most tight ends don't do much. Some do. We've seen that in the past 2 years. But most tight ends don't come on until second, third, and maybe fourth season. They get their feet wet and they get accustomed to what tight ends are required to do in the NFL. This, with an upswing in quarterback play, which I predict Love will produce, is going to benefit pass catchers. And Luke Musgrave is included in that. Okay? Now let's go to Cole Kmet at number 16. Okay? He's got a 3-star. Okay? 3-star. And tell you about Cole Kmet. Over the last 3 seasons, Cole Kmet has finished 25, 32, and 28 in passing yards. But Kmet has finished with 612, 544, and 719 receiving yards in those 3 seasons. He had a career-high 73 catches last year and scored 6 touchdowns. That gave him a tight end 8 in PPR fantasy scoring. The Bears spent the number 1 pick, quite naturally, everybody knows that, on Caleb Williams. So the Chicago passing game should have had some added punch to it. All right? The problem is that the Bears now have a wide receiver trio of DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze. And Kmet faces competition for targets. Okay? Targets equal, and you've heard me say this before, targets equal opportunity. Kmet could also lose snaps to tight end Gerald Everett. Okay, Gerald Everett's on here. He's a very athletic tight end when they got him in free agency. Now, like most of these tight ends are tight end 2s, and that's where Cole Kmet falls. And we have to see how this shakes out. I mean, I've always said this, and I'll say this again ad nauseum. Best friend for a young quarterback, especially a rookie quarterback, is the tight end position. Okay? Safe throws, middle of the field, short throws, high percentage passes. And Cole Kmet can benefit from that. Okay? With Caleb Williams. All right? Let's move on to the next one, TJ Hockenson. I put him on there. TJ Hockenson, in my prediction, will come back sooner or later this week. Probably later in fantasy. So this is the type of player. I think he's going to start on the pup list, physically unable to perform list, which more than likely he'll be out at least 6 games to start the season. But that doesn't mean that he can't come on the gangbusters. And if you happen to be in the playoffs and you happen to draft TJ Hockenson as tight end, I wouldn't say tight end insurance, but tight end that you want to be able to take advantage of later in the season, leading into the playoffs, he may be your guy. Okay? TJ Hockenson. Now, I didn't include this. But he has a 2, and that 2 is a regular season. Going into the fantasy playoffs, the strength of schedule, he's a 3. He's a 3, people. 3. He's good. He's got a good schedule going into the playoffs. There's going to be Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's the starting quarterback unless something happens and he can't take over. But Sam Darnold likes throwing to the quarterback. Okay? I don't have Sam Darnold in here at all. He's not going to be in the top 25. Okay. But Sam Darnold could ease his way into the top 25, depending, because this is a head coaching and coaching for the Minnesota Vikings that is advantageous to the quarterback. Advantageous to the quarterback. Okay. And I would think that they're going to try to get, meaning the Minnesota coaching, it's going to try to get the best out of Sam Darnold and maximize what he can do with the tight ends. To round off the last portion of these tight ends will be Dalton Schultz from Houston. Just like Chicago, they have a trio of wide receivers that they can go to. Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, and Nicole Collins. Not necessarily in that order. I'm just naming the wide receivers out there. He's got a strength of schedule in 2. And his quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, has the 2 also. If I'm not mistaken. Where is he at? He has the 2 also. Not a favorable schedule. Okay, but that's fine. That's fine. But we've seen that offense operate. But this tight end has 3 other options that CJ Stroud can throw to. He may be the 4th option. Dalton Schultz and Cole Kmet have, like I said, have had some similar off-season paths. Both were top 12 fantasy options at the tight end position last year, but they have seen their standing in the target tree diminish with an added addition of talent receivers. Most of Schultz's efficiency numbers from last season do state that he was playing a bit over his head. Among 51 qualifying tight ends, he ranked 15th in target share, 11th in receiving yards per game, 14th in yards per route run, and 11th in first downs per route run. Schultz is likely a high-end tight end too. That's hence his ranking at 14. Schultz is likely a high-end tight end too this season that returns some tight end 1 weeks. Quite naturally, he's not going to be consistently a tight end 1, in my opinion. He's going to be tight end 2, and certain weeks he'll be a tight end 1. But you don't know what those weeks are. But he's draftable. He's at 14. He's draftable. You're going to miss out on the top 13 or top 12 or top 10 or whatever. He's draftable with a quarterback that can get him the ball and likes throwing to the tight end. Okay? Let's move on to one of my favorite tight ends, no doubt. This guy is one of my favorite tight ends. Okay? At number 13. With a 3 as a strength of schedule, with quarterbacks that are not in the top 25, but a strength of schedule, that is the 3. One of my favorite. And let me put it this way, people. This is the guy I'm going to target, because for most people, not all, for most people, he's an afterthought. They don't think about this guy. And this is an added reason. Pat Freiermuth is a very good pass-catching tight end. Okay? And he's got a good schedule. After averaging 9.5 fantasy points per game in his first 2 seasons, he only averaged 6.5 fantasy points per game in last year. As the quarterback play and a hamstring injury cost him 5 games. Freiermuth had 7 touchdown catches as a rookie in 2021. He only scored 2 touchdowns in 2022, but ramped up his yardage, finishing with 63 receptions for 732 yards. He's at work. He's very good at working the middle of the field and has a dependable hand and is tough to bring down after the catch. A 9-catch, 120-yard performance versus the Bengals in late November showed what Freiermuth was capable of. The Steelers aren't exactly loaded at the wide receiver position, so Fairmouth should see enough targets in 2024 to give him a chance at low end tight end one fantasy value. I love this guy. Just think about this. And Arthur Smith, and the conservative type of offense, Arthur Smith. He loves running the football, and he loves throwing to the tight end with a tight end that's very capable of catching the football. Just think about what Arthur Smith did with the tight end position when he was with Tennessee. Need I say more? He's going to run the football, and he'd be throwing to the tight end, making it a good pick. A good pick for the quarterback to throw to as an option. Just think about that. Pat Freiermuth and Russell Wilson. Wilson like throwing to the tight end. Justin Fields is used to throwing to Cole Kmet when he was in Chicago. Now he's got Arthur Smith, who likes throwing to the tight end. With Pat Freiermuth, come on, man. I know I spelled his name wrong. I know I left out an R. Okay. But you know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. Pat Freiermuth. All right. Number 12, Dallas Goedert. High-powered offense with Jalen Hurts. And Hurts, he's got it at 2. Okay. All the more reason he's got a strength of schedule at 2. And his tight end is a 4. Safe throws, middle of the field. I know he's got 2 options, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, but he likes throwing to the tight end also. Dallas Goedert is a hell of a tight end. He was tight end 12 in fantasy points per game, ranking 11th in target share, 13th in receiving yards per game, and 15th in first down routes run. In Kellen Moore's offense, he could get a bump up. Just look, you got a capable tight end. Kellen Moore is going to get the ball to you. He was 14th among tight ends in red zone targets last year, but that number could climb in 2024. I'm telling you, last year, Moore's offense was 7th in red zone passing rate, while Philly led the NFL rushing rate inside the 20. If Goddard can stay healthy and the Eagles toss more in the red zone, he could pay off as a top 6 to 8 fantasy tight end. This is another guy. I got 2 guys back to back that I like, and this is a somewhat afterthought also, because everybody's trying to get the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10, and he's number 12 on a high-powered offense that likes to throw the football with an offensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator, that likes throwing to the tight end. To me, it's a no-brainer with a favorable schedule, a very good, not an excellent, a very good favorable schedule. Okay, in strength of schedule for a tight end position. And let's move on to the rookie at number 11, Brock Bowers. He may be another exception to the rule. Now we're going to run a conservative offense with a second-year quarterback. So what did I tell you about young quarterbacks? Brock Bowers entered the NFL as one of the best tight end prospects of recent memory. Of course, his 3 collegiate seasons, he's never finished lower than 6th in receiving grade or yards per route run. He enters a situation that Dalton Kincaid had last year for the Bills, where Bowers will have to distance himself from incumbent Michael Mayer, which I think he's been doing ever since he hit the scene. Can he possibly do? Sure. It's also possible it will take a few weeks to get established on an every down player in the Raiders offense. As well, Bowers should be considered clearly behind Devontae Adams in target pecking order as he fights Jacoby Myers for the number 1 chair. A strong tight end 1 season is in the range of outcomes for Brock Bowers. You got a young, conservative Coach, you got a young quarterback. That combination goes together. It goes together. That safe throws with a young 21-year-old tight end rookie, with a young second-year quarterback, and that can get the ball. He can get the ball to the tight end, let him do his thing. Brock Bowers, people. Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers. Okay. Now, this guy here, you know, as you can see, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, and this guy came about in a big way. Okay? Came about in a big way. He's hitting that number 3. He's hitting that number 3. Okay? He's got a 3 as and most people now know David Njoku is the real deal. And so does his quarterback. So Deshaun Watson. I think this is going to be another big year for David Njoku. Deshaun Watson has a number 4 as strength of schedule. Outlook to me, he exploded with Joe Flacco under center as he concluded the season at tight end 7. Now I have him as tight end 10. Okay. Number 4 now, and I'll put it this way, but I think this is going to change because they have a different offensive coordinator, and this guy's coming that got axed from Buffalo, like the quarterback thrown to the tight end. With Watson playing last, Njoku, any way you slice them, with Watson playing last season, the 5 games Watson played a full-time role, Njoku had a 15% target share with 1.23 yards per route run, 35.2 receiving yards per game, only 1 red zone target, and 0.035 first downs per route run. His 8.5 points per game would have landed him as a tight end 17 last year. Now, he can manage a low-end tight end with production this year if Watson improves. In plenty of drafts, he'll be a name some people are going to avoid, but I'm not. Because I think this, okay? And I could be biased, but I don't think I'm biased. I think this is going to be a surprise year for people about Deshaun Watson. I see Deshaun Watson playing better, and David Njoku included in that better play. Okay, included in that better play. And if I'm wrong, if I'm right, I don't think David Njoku is going to be a top 10. I think he'll be within the top 5. I think that's what's going to happen here. He's a beast. This guy is a physical specimen. Physical specimen that you need to take care of. Getting the ball to him and let him do his thing. Okay? All right? Let's move on to number 9, and Jake Ferguson. Now, he doesn't have a favorable schedule, and I'll tell you this right now, neither does Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's got a 2. Jake Ferguson has a 2. But this is the type of offense. That gets the ball to the tight end. And who else do they got to throw to? Brandon Cooks. They got CeeDee Lamb. They got Jake Ferguson. 2 big targets, one short, one long. They can get the ball to with sure hands and move the ball down the field. You got to believe he finished as a tight end 10 last year. And his role as the second wide receiver in the Dallas offense helped prop him up more than his underlying efficiency said it should. The role and usage are amazing, but the raw talent and efficiency aren't great. Ferguson is ranked 7th in raw target volume while leading all tight ends in red zone targets. When you pop the hood on his efficiency, when you realize his talent level, he was 17th in yards per route run and 15th in first down per route run, despite ranking 10th in receiving yards per game. While he did finish at the tight end 10, I have him by 9, in fantasy points per game, he was a tight end 7 in expected fantasy points per game. The Cowboys roster remains largely unchanged with the passing depth. So I expect Ferguson to volume his way to another low-end tight end 1 season again. I just named the passing options. I can't think of anything else. At number 8, Evan Ingram. Despite what you think of some people, what you think of Evan Ingram or Trevor Lawrence, Evan Ingram's overall numbers last year highlighted a smash season. He was a tight end 4 in fantasy points per game, 143 targets at the tight end, 143 targets, 114 receptions, and 963 receiving yards. Now, Evan Ingram's season was a season of 2 halves, greatly influenced by Christian Kirk's health and availability. Now, when we know Calvin Ridley is not there anymore, so Christian Kirk is one of the passing options. In weeks 1 to 12 with Kirk on the field, Ingram commanded a 21% target share, producing 1.53 yards per route run, 47.6 receiving yards per game, a 23% first read share, and the ranking of a tight end 7 in fantasy points, which was 10.5 points. After Kirk was lost to injury, Ingram's numbers ballooned as his target share climbed to 25.1. Quite naturally, Evan Ingram is a overgrown wide receiver. He was like that with the Giants, and they treat him like that with the Panthers. I mean, not with the Panthers, with the Jaguars. And his fantasy production was 19.5 fantasy points per game. That's without Christian Kirk. Ingram is the top 10 tight end, where I have him at number 8 in fantasy, but with the healthy Kirk and the additions of Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas, some people see him. It's tough to see him top 5 status in 2024. But Trevor Lawrence has shown that if he favors, in the past, if he's favored you as a target and he trusts you, especially in the middle of the field with short throws, reliable high percentage throws as a tight end / wide receiver, which is Evan Ingram, he's going to continue to throw the ball to you. So he's going to continue to get those targets. Maybe not 143 completely, but he's going to get some high-end tight end targets for a tight end. Okay? That's what I have to say. Let's move on to number 7, and that would be Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts from Atlanta, who has, quite naturally, a 3. And Kirk Cousins, if I'm not mistaken, has a 3. You see him at number 18, has a 3. Pitts was, I know this. And I touted Arthur Smith throwing to the tight end, but for whatever reason, he wasn't doing that in Atlanta. He played most of the season at less than 100%. Okay, Pitts finished as a tight end 16 in fantasy points per game and a tight end 15 in expected fantasy points per game. Much of this can be attributed to his minuscule touchdown production. He only had 3, 18th among tight ends, and a non-existent red zone role, 34 in red zone targets. While Pitts lagged in yards per route run, and he still flashed in one of the metrics to look to for projecting talent and ceiling at the tight end position. Last year, Pitts ranked 7th in this metric, immediately behind Travis Kelce in yards per route run versus man coverage. With a revamped offensive system, a clean bill of health, he's healthy, and an improved quarterback play, Kirk Cousins, TJ Hawkinson. You remember that combination? He likes throwing to the tight end. Okay. It's set to soar this season. I'm telling you, there's high expectations for that offense. I'm going to try to get a piece of that offense, whether it's a quarterback, wide receiver, running back, or the tight end position. You want a piece of the Atlanta Falcons in your fantasy rosters. Let's move on to George Kittle, one of my favorite tight ends. Okay. Kittle proved last year that the tank isn't dry. He was tight end 6 in fantasy points per game, finishing with the highest receptions and receiving yards of his career. While he ranked only 10th in raw target volume, he only had 90 targets. Kittle's high leverage usage was fine, though, as he was first in deep targets, 10th in red zone targets among tight ends, and among 51 qualifying tight ends, he ranked first in yards per route run, 2.42, and 7th in field of depth routes run. Okay. Kittle can easily post another top 6 fantasy tight end season this season, and the floor and ceiling will move upward if Deebo Samuel was moved. Either way, Deebo Samuel was there, and I don't foresee him going anywhere. And Kittle is one of Brock Purdy's favorite targets. He's one of Brock Purdy's favorite targets. And I showed you Brock Purdy's. No, that's not it. Purdy, here it is. Purdy. Nope. Here it is. Nope. Where am I at? Come on. He has the number 2. And Kittle has a 4. Very favorable schedule. Okay. He's the type of I foresee that him having a very good year again. Within the top 5, at least within the top 10. Okay. There's no two ways about it. Let's go to the top 4. Now I talked about this guy before, and I grabbed him up, released him, grabbed him up, released him, and much to my disappointed in myself, someone else took advantage of it. He's got a 5. He's got a 5, people. And I talked about this kid before, and I'm going to talk about him again. I know he only has a 4. I'm talking about Kyler Murray. He only has a 2. But I see big things for Kyler Murray this year. He's going to surprise a lot of people. He's more or less, I would say he's an afterthought, but I don't think because of the Arizona Cardinals and their people are predicting they're not going to be doing that well. Okay, record-wise, they may not be doing well, but in fantasy, I see Kyler Murray having a big year. And Trey McBride, once there was a changing of the tide. Okay, Cliff Kingsbury opened the eyes of a lot of people in that offense, and being able to take advantage of the tight end position. Once Zach Ertz got to the Cardinals, they decided to, we have a good option thrown to the tight end. Zach Ertz was getting decent fantasy numbers. Then they decided, okay, since we love the tight end position, and Zach Ertz is getting a little long in the tooth, why not get a younger tight end in Trey McBride? Hence, Zach Ertz is no longer with the Cardinals. Hence, Trey McBride is the number 4 in this list of tight ends. And I can't see him moving away from that. Kyler Murray, I keep saying this, and I'll say it ad nauseum. Safe throw, love to throw to the tight end because it's a safe throw and it's easy throw to move the ball down the field. Trey McBride. I can't leave out number 3 in Mark Andrews, who has a very favorable schedule, along with this quarterback, who has another favorable schedule. He's got a 4 in Lamar Jackson, and Mark Andrews has a 3. He has a 3. So you got to take advantage of that. Mark Andrews has been a top 5 tight end forever. Okay, for a few years, but Mark Andrews always gets hurt. Always gets hurt. Whether it's missing 6 games, 4 games, 3 games, whatever, he's always getting hurt. And just like he lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks last season, and that's why I have Isaiah Likely in down on the depth chart, but a viable spot because they like throwing to the tight end. Okay? All right, let's move on to the next guy. And he's been number 1 for a long time. He drops down to number 2 with a 3. Excuse me, as his and Mahomes has a 3. Favorable schedule. This team is going to repeat, people. I think they're going to repeat. I really believe that. And I have to say this. Travis Kelce has a 3 as a regular season schedule. Has a 3 as a postseason schedule. I'm talking about postseason in fantasy football. He's still a viable option, even though they've got some young wide receivers, pass catchers that are going to step up, including Marquise Hollywood Brown when he comes back. Travis Kelce is still Pat Mahomes' favorite target. Still his favorite target. Okay? Friends, favorite target, it's a no-brainer. And the last one, last but not least, not last but first, is Sam Laporta in that rising offense with Jared Goff. Okay? He had a rookie season for the ages. Last year, he logged the most points per reception and points per game, the 3rd most receiving yards, and the most receiving touchdowns for a rookie tight end since 1966. He finished as a tight end 3 in fantasy points per game, was also ranking 6th in target share and yards per route run, 10th in first read share, and 3rd in first down routes run. Sam Laporta is in a play to finish at the tight end 1 and is worth paying up for in drafts. Okay. You know he's going to get his share. Even with Amon-Ra St. Brown, even with Jamie Williams getting in the mix. They're going to throw. Jared Goff likes throwing to the tight end. I'm going to put it that way. He did it in at the Rams, and he's doing it big time with the Detroit Lions, with the play calling and the scheme and the players that they have, including the tight end, Sam Laporta, that he's going to get fed consistently. All right, people. Next week, running backs. Next week is running backs. And I'm going to be talking about running backs and sleepers next week. All right? Tune in, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'll be out here again spouting about fantasy football. Have a safe and healthy week. If you're drafting, good luck in your drafting. And remember to Follow the tips that outlined for the last 3 weeks. Know your settings, roster settings, and whatever else is in your league settings. Don't drink and draft, and be fluid in the way you draft. Don't have things set in stone and catch you off guard, and then you make a bad decision or a rash decision when you're not ready for it. Peace, people. Enjoy.